Why is there something rather than nothing? This is the oldest and deepest question philosophy has ever asked. Why is there something rather than nothing? Nothing seems simpler. Nothing requires no explanation. Nothing has no properties to account for, no origins to trace, no existence to justify. Yet here we are, in a universe bursting with galaxies, atoms, and conscious beings asking questions. Something exists, and its existence is the most fundamental mystery of all. Modern physics has transformed this ancient puzzle. We now know that empty space is not truly empty. The quantum vacuum seethes with energy, particles flickering in and out of existence, a restless sea from which everything might have emerged. Could the universe have created itself from nothing? And if so, what does nothing even mean? Welcome back to the Conscious Observer. Today we descend into the void and ask why anything exists at all. In classical physics, a vacuum is simply empty space, the absence of matter and energy. Quantum mechanics reveals this picture to be profoundly wrong. The vacuum is not empty. It is the lowest energy state of quantum fields, and this state is far from boring. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle forbids any field from having exactly zero energy. Even at absolute zero, even in perfect isolation, quantum fields fluctuate. Particles called virtual particles continuously pop into and out of existence, borrowing energy from the vacuum and repaying it almost instantly. These are not metaphors. Virtual particles have measurable effects. The Casimir effect, where two metal plates in a vacuum experience an attractive force, is caused by the pressure difference of virtual particles between and outside the plates. Empty space is a roiling sea of quantum activity. Nothing is full of something. The energy of the quantum vacuum has cosmological consequences. Einstein's equations allow for a cosmological constant, a term representing the energy density of empty space. If the vacuum has energy, it should gravitate. Remarkably, astronomers have discovered that the expansion of the universe is accelerating, driven by something called dark energy. The simplest explanation is that dark energy is vacuum energy. But here we encounter one of the greatest mysteries in physics. When we calculate the expected vacuum energy from quantum field theory, we get a number roughly 120 orders of magnitude larger than what we observe. This is not a small discrepancy. It is the worst prediction in the history of science. Either our calculations are catastrophically wrong, or some unknown mechanism cancels almost all of the vacuum energy, leaving only a tiny residue. The vacuum is not just strange, it is inexplicable. Could the universe have arisen from the quantum vacuum? Physicist Lawrence Krauss has argued that the universe could have emerged from nothing via quantum fluctuations. If the total energy of the universe is zero, with the positive energy of matter exactly balanced by the negative energy of gravitational fields, then the universe could be a quantum fluctuation that happened to persist. No external cause is required. Nothing gave rise to everything, because nothing is unstable. But critics point out that this is not truly nothing. The quantum vacuum is something, a state of quantum fields obeying physical laws. Where did the fields come from? Where did the laws come from? True philosophical nothing would have no properties at all, no quantum fields, no laws, no potential for fluctuation. Can physics ever explain the existence of physics itself? Perhaps not. Perhaps there is a limit to what science can address. Some physicists have proposed that the universe might be self-creating, containing its own cause within itself. This sounds paradoxical, but quantum mechanics allows for stranger things. Retrocausality, which we touched on earlier, permits future events to influence past events. The participatory universe of John Wheeler suggests that observers today help determine the conditions of the early universe. If consciousness is necessary to collapse quantum possibilities into definite realities, and consciousness only emerges in a universe with specific properties, then perhaps the universe had to be the way it is in order to produce the observers that make it real. This is a cosmic loop, an Ouroboros where effect becomes cause. The universe does not come from nothing external. It comes from itself, an eternal self-referential structure with no beginning that requires explanation. Modern cosmology suggests that our universe may be just one bubble in an eternally inflating multiverse. In this picture, the vacuum energy of empty space drives exponential expansion. Occasionally, regions transition to lower energy states, nucleating bubble universes like ours. But the expansion is so rapid that new vacuum is always being created, faster than bubbles can fill it. Inflation never ends. It is eternal. There is no first moment, no creation event for the multiverse as a whole. Our Big Bang was not the beginning of everything, just the beginning of our local region. The question of why there is something rather than nothing becomes, why is there eternal inflation? But eternal inflation has no moment of creation to explain. It simply is, has always been, will always be. The mystery shifts but does not dissolve. Philosophers have wondered whether existence might be necessary rather than contingent. Perhaps nothingness is impossible. Perhaps something must exist because the absence of everything is internally contradictory. This is difficult to argue, since we can seemingly conceive of nothing without contradiction. But our ability to conceive something does not guarantee its possibility. Maybe absolute nothingness is like a round square, seemingly coherent in words, but impossible in reality. Some mathematical physicists have suggested that the most fundamental level of reality is purely logical or mathematical, and logical and mathematical truths exist necessarily. If the universe is a mathematical structure, as we explored in the last episode, then its existence is as necessary as the truth of geometry. 2 + 2 must equal 4. The universe must exist. This transforms the mystery, but does not eliminate it entirely. Perhaps the question of why there is something rather than nothing is unanswerable in principle. Every explanation assumes something, laws, principles, prior causes. To explain existence itself, we would need to stand outside existence, which is impossible. We are fish trying to explain water. The question may be meaningful, but not answerable, at least not by beings embedded within the something they are trying to explain. This is not a failure of intelligence, but a structural limitation. Ludwig Wittgenstein suggested that some questions should be met not with answers, but with silence, that they mark the boundary of what language can meaningfully address. Perhaps why is there something rather than nothing is such a question. It does not demand an answer. It invites wonder. The mystery is not a problem to be solved, but a depth to be contemplated. Throughout this series, we have seen consciousness appear at the foundations of reality. Quantum mechanics needs observers. Time flows for awareness. The universe seems fine-tuned for minds to emerge. Now we ask, what is the relationship between consciousness and the void? Some mystical traditions describe the deepest meditative states as an encounter with emptiness, a luminous void that is simultaneously nothing and everything. Meditators report that beneath all phenomena there is a spacious awareness without content, yet vibrantly alive. Could this be a direct experience of the quantum vacuum, the pregnant nothingness from which all things arise? Or is it simply what consciousness experiences when it stops generating content? Either way, the contemplative reports echo what physics suggests, that nothing is not blank absence but fertile potential, the womb of all that exists. We asked why there is something rather than nothing. We found that the question grows stranger the more we examine it. The quantum vacuum is not nothing. It seethes with energy and possibility. The universe might have created itself from fluctuations in this sea, or it might exist eternally, with no moment of creation to explain, or existence might be logically necessary. the only possibility that could be. Or the question might exceed what minds can answer. What we can say is this: you exist, aware and wondering. That is the primal fact from which all philosophy begins. You are something, made of quantum fields, embedded in a universe that emerged somehow from the void. Your consciousness is the void becoming aware of itself, nothingness contemplating its own surprising existence. In our next episode, we explore another dimension of the mystery, the world of dreams, where consciousness creates entire realities each night. What do dreams tell us about the nature of existence? Until then, remember, you are the universe's answer to the question of why anything exists. Keep observing.